He was one of the most loved men in Hollywood, yet he chose to walk away from love. Not because he was afraid, but because love had already taken everything from him. One child lost, one woman gone forever, and a silence so deep, he never spoke about it. This isn't a celebrity story. This is the untold reason why Keanu Reeves walked away from love. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Now, let's dive into what really happened. He was rich. He was famous. He was loved by millions around the world. From the outside, Keanu Reeves seemed to have it all. Red carpets, blockbuster movies, global recognition, everything most people spend their entire lives chasing. His face was everywhere, his name was powerful, and his success looked effortless. Yet behind the applause and flashing cameras, there was something missing from his life: peace. At the height of his Hollywood career, when many actors were chasing luxury homes, public romances, and constant attention, Keanu quietly stepped in the opposite direction. He didn't chase noise. He didn't chase headlines. Instead, he chose something few people could understand: distance, silence, and solitude. This decision confused many. Fans expected glamour and excitement. The media wanted love stories and dramatic headlines. But Keanu seemed uninterested in proving anything to anyone. While others celebrated success loudly, he carried his success quietly, almost cautiously, as if he knew something the world didn't. Whispers soon followed. Some people said he was afraid of commitment. Others believed he was emotionally broken, unable to love again. A few even labeled him as cold or detached. But none of these labels were true. Keanu wasn't running away from love. He was protecting himself from pain he knew all too well. Behind his calm expressions and gentle smile lived a man who had already learned a painful truth: that love, when lost, can wound deeper than loneliness ever could. This is why he didn't speak openly about his personal life. This is why he avoided explaining himself. Some pain doesn't need an audience. Some wounds don't heal by talking. This story is not about rumors or celebrity gossip. It's about a man who survived emotional storms silently. A man who learned that having everything on the outside doesn't mean you are complete on the inside. Fame didn't save him. Money didn't protect him. Applause didn't bring comfort. Keanu Reeves reached a point where he understood something rare and powerful. Peace is more valuable than attention, and sometimes, walking away is not weakness, it is wisdom. This is the beginning of a story about loss, survival, and a heart that chose quiet strength over loud happiness in the late 1990s. At a time when Hollywood relationships were loud, fast, and often temporary, Keanu Reeves found something incredibly rare: a quiet, genuine love that felt real beyond the cameras and fame. Her name was Jennifer Syme, and unlike many people drawn to Hollywood stars, she wasn't chasing attention, headlines, or red carpets. Jennifer loved Keanu for the man he was when the lights were off and the crowds were gone. She saw his gentleness, his humility, and his deep emotional nature. Friends close to the couple often described their relationship as peaceful and private. There were no dramatic public appearances, no flashy interviews, and no need to prove anything to the world. Their bond existed in silence, built on trust and emotional closeness rather than glamour. For the first time in his life, Keanu allowed himself to imagine something he had never truly planned before: a normal life. Not defined by movie schedules or fame, but by shared mornings, quiet conversations, and the dream of starting a family. He wasn't just thinking about his next role anymore. He was thinking about a future that extended beyond Hollywood. Then, without warning, tragedy struck. In 1999, Jennifer gave birth to their daughter, who was stillborn at 8 months. The loss was devastating. It wasn't just the loss of a child, it was the loss of a future they had already begun to imagine. A future filled with hope suddenly collapsed into unbearable grief. Pain entered their lives like an uninvited guest and refused to leave. Their home, once filled with quiet happiness, became heavy with sorrow. Keanu tried to remain strong, believing that silence and endurance were the only ways to survive. Jennifer, on the other hand, struggled deeply, trying to process a pain no parent is ever prepared for. But grief has a way of changing people. It reshapes emotions, distances hearts, and creates walls even between those who love each other deeply. Despite their affection, the weight of their shared loss became too much to carry together. They separated quietly, without blame or bitterness. Not because love had disappeared, but because the pain had grown stronger than their ability to heal side by side. This chapter of Keanu's life didn't just break his heart, it reshaped his understanding of love forever. Just when Keanu Reeves was beginning to gather the broken pieces of his life and learn how to live with grief, fate struck again, and this time, it was even more cruel. Life didn't pause to let him heal. It didn't offer mercy or warning. It simply took more than it gave. In 2001, Jennifer Syme died in a tragic car accident. In a single moment, someone who had once been the center of his world was gone forever. One breath, she existed as a memory from his past. The next, she became an absence that would never be filled. There was no farewell. No final conversation. No chance to say the words left unsaid. This sudden loss cut deeper than the pain he had already endured. It wasn't just grief anymore, it was shock, disbelief, and a haunting sense of unfinished goodbyes. Something inside Keanu fractured in a way that never fully healed. True to his nature, he didn't speak publicly about his pain. He didn't give interviews filled with tears or dramatic confessions. He didn't allow his suffering to become entertainment. Instead, he chose silence. A quiet withdrawal that protected him from the world and, perhaps, from himself. Emotionally, Keanu disappeared. Those close to him noticed the change almost immediately. The warmth in his smile faded. His words became fewer. He grew more guarded, as if opening up meant risking another unbearable loss. Conversations about love, relationships, and marriage quietly vanished from his life. It wasn't bitterness, it was fear mixed with experience. To Keanu, love had transformed into something dangerous. Not because it wasn't beautiful, but because it had proven how fragile it was. He had learned that the deeper you love, the deeper the pain when it's taken away. And loss, he realized, doesn't ask permission. Rather than letting grief turn him cold or angry, Keanu carried it inward. He lived with it quietly, allowing it to shape his choices without letting it destroy his compassion. The world continued to see him as a movie star, but inside, he was simply a man who had lost too much, too fast. This chapter of his life didn't just change him, it defined the emotional boundaries he would live by from that moment forward. After losing the two people who meant the world to him, Keanu Reeves made a decision that changed the course of his life, a decision that few could fully understand. He would no longer allow himself to love deeply. Not because his heart had hardened, or because he didn't crave connection, but because he had learned the true cost of opening his heart and losing everything he held dear. Keanu once reflected on his experience with a simple yet profound statement. Grief changes shape, but it never ends. Those words reveal the depth of his understanding. For him, love was no longer a risk-free experience. Every connection carried the shadow of potential pain, and every attachment threatened to reopen wounds that had never fully healed. To love again might mean reliving the heartbreak he had endured, and after all he had suffered, he wasn't willing to take that chance. So, while Hollywood buzzed with rumors and fans speculated about secret romances, Keanu remained intentionally distant. He was often seen with co-stars or appearing in public events, but there was a quiet reserve to him, a sense of self-protection. This wasn't aloofness or arrogance, it was a conscious choice to preserve the peace he had learned to value so highly. Instead of pursuing romantic relationships, Keanu focused his energy elsewhere. He dedicated himself to his craft, pouring passion and discipline into his acting. He quietly helped others, offering support to crew members, friends, and even strangers in need. Many stories tell of him donating millions anonymously, showing generosity without seeking recognition. His compassion extended to everyone, regardless of fame, wealth, or status. Ironically, the man who stepped away from love became one of the kindest and most respected figures in Hollywood. His choice to walk alone didn't make him cold or indifferent. It made him thoughtful, careful, and profoundly empathetic. He understood the fragility of life and the fleeting nature of happiness, and this awareness shaped every interaction he had. Walking away from love, for Keanu, was not about giving up on human connection. It was about choosing self-preservation, mindfulness, and purpose. He learned to love differently, not loudly or romantically, but quietly through his actions, his kindness, and his unwavering respect for the people around him. In this way, solitude became not a punishment, but a conscious and deeply human decision. Here's the part of Keanu Reeves' story that most people never see or understand. Despite the immense pain and loss he endured, Keanu never stopped believing in love. He never gave up hope that connection, compassion, and human closeness could exist. What changed was not his capacity to love, but the way he approached it. After losing the two most important people in his life, he stopped chasing love the way most people do. He stopped seeking public displays, dramatic romances, or fleeting flares of passion. Instead, he began to value quiet connection, enduring respect, and emotional presence. He understood that love is not measured by intensity or visibility, but by the depth of understanding, care, and consistency shared between hearts. Years later, when Keanu appeared publicly with a partner or was seen close to someone he cared about, fans and media noticed a remarkable difference. There was no drama, no attempts to perform or impress, no extravagant gestures aimed at headlines. What they saw instead was calm companionship, a bond built on mutual respect, understanding, and quiet joy. It was subtle, but it was real. Through these experiences, Keanu learned one of life's most profound lessons. Love isn't about possession or control, it's about presence. True love does not demand attention or ownership. It does not seek to consume or overwhelm. It is steady, patient, and understanding. It gives without expecting, supports without suffocating, and endures even in the face of tragedy. Walking away from love, in Keanu's case, was never a sign of weakness. It was a conscious choice for survival, a way to protect a heart that had already experienced the deepest loss imaginable. It was a recognition that love, while beautiful, carries risks that can sometimes be devastating. Yet, in choosing solitude, he never abandoned hope. He simply learned to love in a way that allowed him to continue living fully, generously, and kindly. Perhaps the untold story of Keanu Reeves is not about a man who feared love. Perhaps it is about a man who loved so deeply that losing it forever altered him, not into someone cold or unfeeling, but into someone wise, compassionate, and enduring. His life reminds us that true love is not about clinging, but about understanding, cherishing, and holding space, even when that love must exist quietly, sometimes only within the heart itself.